All right, all right. I see people were joining in on the party because we are definitely going to have a little fun tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know there are folks that are joining us. I am Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss TV. And you'll notice something a little different tonight. I have a very special guest with us, Melody Johnson. Me-
Hey,
Good to see you, lady.
great to be here, Tanya. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I have to introduce you in just a few short minutes. But what I'm going to do, first of all, is just introduce the show. So let me scoot on over here real quick. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we are going to cover tonight. So, Melody is my special guest, and I'm going to do a quick bio intro of her. But I also want you to get to know her as a person, like a human being. Because, sometimes we put on our business hats and it's all business. But I feel like Melody is someone that I've gotten to know over the time that we've spent together, and she is just an amazing person. Not only an amazing person, but she's super smart, and you're going to learn that. Let me do a really quick intro of her, and I'll tell you that this show, Stream Like a Boss TV, is all about helping you as a service provider, whether you're a coach, a consultant, a course creator, somebody who's a creative that is serving other people, to learn how to leverage more video so that you can serve more people, you can sell more of your services, and you can stand out online. And so, what I wanted to do with the special guests that I'm going to be bringing on is to really show you what is possible with video. So, I want to talk to Melody about how she got started using video, but also just about her particular business and her craft. She is a processpreneur and a founder of the Course Consultant. You're going to learn more about her in just a few minutes. Melody helps business owners who are membership owners, agencies, and cohort based businesses to grow their recurring revenue. Yes, we said recurring, through streaming their systems, process, and teams. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few seconds. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody in. I see some folks that are in here looking for her. Let me push this on down here. Yay, been waiting for this. Laura, yes, because Laura, you and Melody are soul sisters. Trust me, you'll learn about that in just a second. I love it. I love it. I love all the comments coming in. Alrighty, ladies, we're going to be right back. Lenidra put this in here for you. I'll have to pop this back up when we put you back on stage, Melody, in just a second. She's in the process of planning out her membership now. So that's awesome. All right, we're going to be right back. Just give me one quick second to do our short intro video, and then we're going to bring Melody on screen. All right, Miss Melody Johnson, we want to get to know you, girl. So tell us where you're from. Tell us a little bit about you and what's not in the bio I just read.
Yes, yes, Tanya. So excited to be here, pumped. It is a little bit in the evening here. I am located in the Arizona area, and I always laugh and say Arizona has its own time zone because we flip-flop between time zones. So, Southwest succulents, cactus vibes, that's the vibe I'm in right now. So, I'm so stoked to be here. A little bit more about me that's not on the bio. I was just chatting with Tanya. I am the oldest daughter of four, and I actually have siblings with the most unique names. And people always chuckle because when they hear it, they're like, okay, now I know you and your family: Melody, Charity, Harmony, and then the little brother named TJ, right? He's kind of the butt of the joke right there because he doesn't rhyme and have a little, musical sounding name. But yeah, I love connecting up with other people. People don't know this about me, that I am an introvert, and I actually didn't previously like being on camera. I actually was someone who would just sit in the back, kind of just, keep to myself. And so getting on camera has really been a really helpful way for me to open up and become more open with myself, being able to be more confident talking about my business. But I just like it because I can be myself and have fun. So I love connecting up with other people inside of my groups and chatting with others throughout the week. So that's a little bit about me. I guess I'll kick this back over to you, Tanya. Anything specific that I should be talking about?
Look, I want to talk about you for a second. I'm going to talk about you for a second because when we first met, what was interesting is that Melody, she said Arizona, but I didn't pick up on exactly where she was at first. And here's what's interesting because you just never know. It's such a small world. She's in Yuma, and my husband and I were stationed in Yuma, Arizona. So she was talking about these landmarks and other things where she was, and I was like, she's in Yuma. Like, I have never ever met anybody else who was in Yuma. It's pure desert out there. And I just remember my time when my husband was in the Marine Corps and we were stationed out there. It was just one of those connections that you just never know you'll have. So I thought that was so interesting. But the other thing about Melody is she is super sweet. You're one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So the whole Melody, Harmony, Charity, not surprised. But you're not a pushover.
I try not to be. I'm getting better. I am. But yeah, that was just such an amazing connection, Tanya, and having the ability to see, like you were saying, Yuma is a very, very small town, and you never meet people from Yuma. It's like
Mm-mm.
the place that you stop by on your way to somewhere more important.
Yes. Yes, it is. But
So
look,
that's definitely great.
let's learn a little bit more about you because I know that people want to find out how you got started on the business path you're on. And as a matter of fact, I know that I have stream bosses in the building. So I've been looking at some of the comments. If you're an OG, if you've been here before, you've been to our show, you've seen us online, I want you to just type in hashtag OG. If you have never ever been here before, put hashtag newbie. And we want to know what interested you about the topic that we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to pop up some of these comments. We've got one OG right there, Miss Michelle in the house. And I need to put this up as well because Lotta is really interested in hearing what we have to talk about. And because she's one of our stream bosses, she's going to benefit from your amazing, incredible training about recurring revenue and customers. So very, very excited. Yep, Stream Boss Academy in the house. Lenitra is a newbie. I just want to say hello and welcome everybody. Look, Yvette is an OG because you've been here now, girl, so you're part of the family. You can't go anywhere. Yes, I do want to hear if anybody has thoughts about what interested you most about this particular topic. I would love for you to share that in the comments and let Melody know your questions as we talk. Because now I'm going to dive into some questions with her. Yes. Glad for you to be here too, Juan. Juan, you are now officially an OG. Okay. And then here's one last comment before I dive into the next question, because I want to talk to you about your business. I want to hear about your business, Melody, and how you got started. So here's a couple of reasons why people wanted to be here. Because we're awesome. We are awesome. And because I want to monetize my following, is what Lotta said. So I'm excited to talk with you a little bit more about your specific business. And I have this question for you. How did you get started? Like, what interested you in walking the path that you're on right now, Melody? What made you make this decision to follow this path?
Yeah, so, I've always had a passion for teaching. In fact, I was a little girl who lined up their dolls and would be teaching in front of them. I loved being in front of the class. Um, I definitely felt like for a long time that I wanted to have a side business when I was actually working full time in corporate training, and I was actually helping other employees learn how to effectively complete the tasks in their role. So, as an instructional designer, I essentially helped people learn skills through online training. And so, I had a lot of friends um, who actually asked me, how do I get started with creating a membership? How do I get started with creating an online course? I have a course. How do I make it better? I'm interested in improving my curriculum. And so these questions continued to come to me time and time again. And so I decided, as I continued growing my business, that I really wanted to dedicate my time in making an impact for people to earn revenue with their knowledge and expertise. And so joining that, I learned how to do it through growing my audience and also by creating more content for my own business, for my membership, and for my courses, and for my, of course, also for my clients.
So a question came up while you were talking, and it's right here. Let me scroll it back down. What is a processpreneur?
Ooh, great question. So, a processpreneur is someone who is able to get insight as to the workflows that you have in your business and optimize them and improve them so that you can save time, save energy, and build your profits. So, a lot of the times when we're creating content, it's so easy to get into the rut of, I got to do it myself. But as you build up your team, maybe you have a virtual assistant, maybe you're going to outsource parts of your content creation or different parts of your business. With if you're an agency, it's really important to have a process in place because you could literally be saving weeks from your life by handing over certain skills and tasks and things of that nature so you can focus on the revenue generating portion of your business.
So excellent question. Thank you, Miss Yvette. And Lenitra says the reason why she's here, look, she has a connection with you as well. You have a teaching background. And so she's mentioned she's been a teacher for 18 years. She wants to take her community of 2,000 plus teachers and start a membership to begin earning recurring income. So I think this is an excellent topic for us to be talking about. And then Yvette said, I love the influx of information, and she wants to be her own boss. Another former teacher, holy moly, high school, woo, bless your heart, Lada. And Michelle wants to love, or she loves the idea of growing her audience as raving fans. Wonderful, wonderful. So you make a difference by helping people to really establish a flow and get more efficient with their businesses. What are some of the things, before I ask you about roadblocks you experience, what are some of the roadblocks that people you work with experience?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest roadblocks that I saw was that people often felt like starting the membership was the biggest roadblock to their success. But as they continued to market their membership, their group coaching program, or their online course, the issue was actually a lot larger. The issue was that there wasn't a clear process to deliver on that service or on that course or on the group program without draining themselves out, without draining their team. And so, putting a process in place for your membership, for your group program well before you even deliver the first lesson is a really great place to start. And I do think that it's important, while you may not have the capacity to get someone immediately into your business, just knowing that within the first 1 to 2 years of you establishing your membership or group program, it's important to consider, where is the membership going? Where is the group program going? And what types of support do I need for me to flourish so that I can show up for my clients? Because that's the kind of sustainable business that we want to grow into, instead of just churn and burn and burning out, because that's definitely not what we want as business owners.
So I have a question about that because honestly, I never felt like I was somebody who was really, I'm just going to say this because you're an introvert. I'm an introvert too, like a big old introvert. How do we take the first steps to creating a membership if we feel like we usually are kind of behind the scenes or um, I don't know, introverted people don't always reach out and proactively pull people in. So what do we do first to start growing an audience to the point to where we can even create a membership? Where do you start?
Yeah, so I think that it's important to decide on who you want to be in your membership based off of what you're going to deliver. And so often I find that people are just like, I'm just going to build an audience. Well, who's in your audience specifically? I know that my audience are people who are course creators, group program founders. Maybe they have an agency, maybe they're building up their team. They're also content creators who might have a podcast, or they're trying to land more clients. And so getting really clear on who it is that you're serving and how you are serving. For instance, if you have an intellectual property, a specific framework, for instance, if anyone in your audience is someone who has written a book before or is thinking about creating a book, there's going to be something unique that you share with your audience that's going to allow you to stand out from competitors. And creating content intentionally to help people identify, oh, yes, I know exactly who to go to for a live stream video. That's exactly why I know Tanya, right? And, so knowing how you're going to serve them and then knowing who you're talking to will help be more specific in your marketing content and how you're building up the right audience to buy, not just a audience.
I love that idea. I love that you're helping us to kind of think through how do we actually come up with a plan for even starting, because I kind of fell into the membership. If you were to think through roadblocks that you experienced when you first decided to go into course building, memberships, anything that gathered people, what were some of the things that you really faced that held you back at first, Melody?
There's a lot, but I would say that the first thing was probably my own confidence. There's so many people out there who share these incredible results and stories about having these great launches. And so often if you're just starting something new, you kind of tend to compare yourself to somebody's phase Z, when in reality you're in this phase A and you feel like you have to be absolutely perfect. But in truth, really creating an audience, building a membership, a group coaching program, it's more about creating a iteration process. I talk a lot about this with my students inside my membership, but creating the intentionality to know that your phase 0 or phase 1 or phase A is not the same as someone's end phase Z, right? And not comparing yourself. And so I did that in the beginning very often with the way that my videos were, with the way that my courses were, with the way that my marketing material was. And don't be sad when you're just starting, because there's going to be ways that you can improve over time. I was really afraid getting on video for the first time, and the roadblock that I had was just getting the confidence to show up and be consistent. And half the battle is really telling yourself, yes, I can do it. Surrounding yourself with the right people and the right mentors and the right training to prepare you in order to excel is really, really an important part of that beginning phase, and then continuing that throughout the process. Yes, absolutely. Agile foundations, exactly. All about that.
And one of the things that I noticed here is a really good question from Michelle, because this is one of my, I don't want to say roadblocks, but it was for me, and it had to do with the constant monitoring. It takes a lot of work and energy and interaction to really create community, right? So how do you find the time? Because you mentioned something about later, once you get to a certain point, you need to hire or bring people in. But what about those times when you don't have enough people? It's just you. Are there any tips for those of us who are operating and rocking solo with our membership because we're just getting set up?
Yeah, I think that it's a really great part to just figure out what's working for you, right? Because if we try to hand something over to somebody and say, good luck, it's really not equipping them. They're going to ask you questions. It's going to take away your valuable time. So it's actually better that you take the time to figure out what's your content creation process for your membership or group program before you actually start hiring on team members. And for instance, this might look like creating a content calendar for your membership on a monthly or quarterly basis. You might actually look at your time and say, okay, every single Friday for 1 hour, I'm going to map out content of what's going to be dripped out right? You might also consider creating a checklist for, okay, whenever I need to upload a new curriculum or video, here's the steps that I need to follow. And just
Yeah.
literally putting it inside of a Google document with a little checklist, that's a really simple step. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't need to have very, really expensive software to do that. But starting simple and then iterating from that, you can then start handing those tasks over one at a time. Because even if you're onboarding somebody, it's not going to be immediate. They're not gonna immediately know exactly what you need to do, even with the best tutorials. There's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve. So just prepare yourself to put these checklists in place now, so that when you do have the capacity to, financially and time-wise, onboard that next person, it's gonna make your life so much easier.
So, speaking of that, one of the questions I have, and I know that some of my stream bosses have this, and others who are, if anybody has questions, definitely keep putting them in here because we're loving your comments. Love it. One of my questions for you is where do you start? Like, which platform would be the best place to start as it relates to creating a membership?
So, are you asking for the best course platform, or are you asking
Sure,
just okay.
sure.
So, there's a really interesting story, and I'm gonna push back a little bit, on that question because it's a question I get often, and it's a beautiful story of a very, very world famous violinist who had this beautiful violin, went up on stage for people who were paying top dollar to see this person playing in a conference, and he goes up there, takes the violin, smashes it. Everyone's gasping. Oh my gosh, this person who's a world class violinist smashed this violin. He then takes a second violin from a case and he takes the microphone and he says, many of you are shocked that I damaged this violin, when actuality, that violin was $5. And you heard me earlier playing this violin. So it's not about the instrument, it's about the person who holds the bow. And so I think that as in general, for us business owners, we often, myself included, will look at technology and software to solve all of these pain points for us, when in truth, it's really about the process, the infrastructure, and ourselves and or our team to deliver on the workflow that will save us time, build us profit, and sustain our business. And so if we look at platforms in that context, yeah, Michelle, love that analogy. Me too. It's a great story. So we look at that context with course platforms. What do you want your library to do? Do you want it to just simply host videos? You can host a video on Loom, put it in a folder, put up a simple checkout cart, and then add it in there. Now, I'm all for making easy access learning and making it accessible, but I think sometimes we get caught up in making it perfect and it prevents us from actually seeing success and actually making an impact. And so I'm so much a big fan of this iterative approach: launch, develop, iterate, go again. And so I would say, start simple. Create something on Loom videos or Google Drive or a simple checkout cart like Thrivecart, which I know you've used in the past.
Hmm.
So that's where I would say get started.
I love it. And so many comments have come through saying that they love it too. We've got to let me put the row of comments there. Look at that. Love that analogy. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, so good. I think that when you talk about simplicity, the thing that we sometimes get caught up in is that we're hearing, as we're trying to build and create our own community spaces and memberships, that we are lured like the Pied Piper, right? Into what the gurus and what other people are doing and saying we should do. So go invest $1,000 in this platform, go do this, go do that. And we don't even have our idea all together yet. Are you finding that there are other kind of bad habits that we tend to start off with when it comes to creating or forming a space for our clients, a community?
Yes, I think that if you're there's two parts to that. First off, I think that it's wonderful that people want to make an impact, but being really clear about what your solution is. You're marketing people who are going to do either you're going to hire out to do your sales page copy, your email marketing, your ads, or if you decide to just do it yourself, you'll save yourself a lot of headache to just know exactly what are the issues that my customers face on a day-to-day basis or on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. Getting that clear will help everything after become more easier. And then secondly, yes, rehab from Absumo, totally. I am the same. So, um, I also think the second thing is that start small, right? So the first thing would be to validate the product, get a couple of people to purchase from you. Sometimes people think that the fast way is to do ads. It's, very, it does take an investment financially, and if you can do it, that's great, but you don't have to start there. You can start with something really simple like a checkout page, like I've shared before. And so building up that community, building up that space where people can chat with you, where you are the go-to person for that specific topic. I know for my friends, people come to me and ask me curriculum questions or
Mhm.
customer success questions, and they'll say, "Hey, do you know a better way to do this? What's your course platform of choice?" And I'll share with them my specific recommendations. And I've done that because people have decided to come to me and have conversations. It's not because I'm just knocking on everyone's door saying, "Hey, hey, do you want to buy from me? Do you want to buy from me? Do you want to buy from me?" It's like, "Hey, how you doing? What's your day like? What's up? What are your projects?" So I think, yeah, exactly. Organic is long term. And so it's really about building up a sustainable process to help show up in front of our clients and then also really deliver on that promised result. Because so often we tell people, here's this mega result, and we see these splashy sales pages and
Yeah.
these like, I made $10,000 on this launch. But if you're just starting out, maybe that big result is you enrolled 10 people, and I'm not saying it's not possible to have a really big flashy launch, but I think it's more realistic to see where am I at now and what's a realistic amount of financial, income I can get from this. And then also like, how can I deliver the best experience, get the best testimonials, and start growing that recurring revenue so that person buys from me again or they tell their friends.
You know what? There's something I want to hone in on before we answer that question. Lotta had a question about engagement, but there's something I want to hone in on because I know this about you. You mentioned this and you kind of skimmed over it, but it really is the way that you live and that you perform your business. You talked about relationships and you talked about before you even get to that point of, can you buy my stuff? One of the things that I have really been impressed with, Melody, is that you hold these chats. Do you call them coffee chats?
Yes,
I
I
want to
I do
talk
call them
about
coffee
that.
chats.
So before you even say or explain what you do, I want people to know being in business, especially in this moment, is a time where you have an opportunity to truly create real relationships and connections with people before you even ask for the sale or the referral or the reference. And one of the things that I see Melody do very well, and this is probably why you're so successful when it comes to creating communities, is you reach out to people before it's time to pay. Like you set up these connections with people just to find out how are you doing? Like what's going on in your world? How can I support you? Can you talk a little bit about your thought process in doing those chats?
Yeah, so I think that so often, before I realized the importance of community, I thought that it was all about the flashy sales page. It was all about the best website design. It was about the best Instagram marketing or the fanciest edited YouTube videos. And I didn't realize that there was this whole community that I was missing out on. And in fact, that community element has been such a pivotal part to me sustaining my own sense of enjoyment, because it can be very tiring to just content and never really get to see the joy of talking with people, getting to know them, understanding what their issues are, helping them talk through some of the concerns that they have, and being also there for them when they accomplish great wins, reach the next goal, and being again there for them if they want to go deeper with you. And so as I've kind of built up this community, I've definitely made an intentional time. I actually have time set on my calendar every single week for networking. And I do that specifically to follow up with people. Hey, how are you doing? Just wanted to follow up and reconnect about either scheduling a coffee chat, or hey, what new event are you doing? How can I support you? Or hey, I know it's been a while since we connected. Recently, I did that with one of my past colleagues, and we got to reconnect about what they were up to, how I can support them and refer them more business. And I think that that's not only empowering for them, but it's also helpful for me, because if I can help this other person, the tide rises together. And so I truly believe that community is the best way to not just build an engaged following of fans, but also help everyone grow together. It's not about me and what I'm making, it's about what we are making together. And if I can do that for other people, that's truly the impact and the type of lifestyle and the type of business that I want to run.
So you see Christopher's question.
Great question, Christopher. I don't know if you're go by
Mm-hmm.
Chris or Christopher. So, I've done a combination of things. Chats, I normally conduct one-on-one coffee chats. And so what I would do is actually set up one-on-one coffee chats once or twice a week. Now, that might work for you or it might not work for you. I had this really big chain of comments on my Facebook personal profile all about coffee chats and what's a good boundary. And I had a lot of different opinions on what would work for some people. And to be honest, it's really up to you and what makes sense for your schedule and your availability and your energy. Several of my friends are introverts, and they would say, well, I limit coffee chats once a month, or once every 3 months, or two times a month. So it really just does depend. And then, oh, there's another great question. How do I keep the connections with respects to your time? I would just say scheduling out those connections to a limited time period. So I normally say, 15, 20 minutes tops. And I have had to remind people before, hey, just letting you know, just out of respect for both of our times, that I need to keep this conversation short because I have to work with clients most of my one-on-one, day, or I have to work with other projects. So just out of respect for you and for our time together, I wanted to just let you know about that in advance. So just being upfront with people is really polite, and also it helps establish that there's mutual respect. And then secondly, there's still great ways to connect up with people. Recently, I've had to hone down on my coffee chats, and that was one of the conversations that we had on
I
my
saw
Facebook.
that.
Yeah, that was just a blown up conversation. How do I politely decline coffee chats? And I think that, moving forward, I'm not going to say no entirely to coffee chats, but I think that, within the space that I create, I invite people to come and have ongoing conversations with me, because I have a lot of opportunities for people to chat with me inside of my spaces, like
That's
live stream
right.
videos. I have coffee chats for co-working days, I have workflow days, I have LinkedIn audio events. So it's not like saying no to coffee chat means I won't be able to connect with them. It just means
Mm-hmm.
that I'm being a little bit more efficient with my time, and when the opportunity arises again, I can say, "Hey, looks like I have a few more spots open, but at the present time the best way to connect with me is this and this," right?
I love that. Now, here's a question I want to go back to that Lotta asked about measuring engagement. So, when you have established your community, your membership, your group, how do you know that the engagement is where you want it to be? Are there signs? And is it different for everyone?
So you're talking about memberships, people who are paying members in your program? Is that the question?
Well, engagement in your community, period. Like,
Mm,
how do you know if you're getting the right level of engagement? And I can say, just from my own personal experience, there are times when it sounds like it's like crickets, right? It looks like, is anybody there? And then there are times when it seems like it's hopping. So,
mhm.
how do you effectively know when you're where you should be? Or is that something that you can individually establish depending on the type of community that you have?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not a social media expert in terms of looking at the analytics in the group. I mean, there are things, let's say in a Facebook group or in some platforms, where you can check to see how many people are logging in, how many people are actually viewing your content, who is the
Yeah.
top engaged commenter, and seeing that means that that person is probably a little bit more likely to tune into your next show, to comment, to be a supporter, or buy a product or a course or a service. So if you look at your analytics in your Facebook group, you can see that, likewise, I mentioned a couple of other communities have that feature. What I would recommend is one of two things: is one, to look at where the engagement is coming from, the topic wise. This is something that in general social media is really, you're able to see in terms of your analytics. What kind of things were really popular. Sometimes I think there's going to be a video that's going to land and I'm going to get the most engagement, and just like you said, Tanya, just crickets. And then all of a sudden I have this like off the cuff post that has no graphics. It has, just infused with a just I'm curious kind of vibe. And then all of a sudden I just get, 50, 60 comments. And I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
why did that one go off and why didn't this other thing go off? So, it's so hard to pinpoint, what you think will work, but it's more important to look at your engagement overall in terms of your analytics, looking at the numbers and then evaluating from there how you can make more of that content or see why that content really resonated with them. And of course, like asking the people inside of your group, like, what do you want to see next? You can do polls, you can do surveys, you can do conversations with your folks in your membership. What would you like to see? Because that's truly what that community is about. And you do a great job of doing that in your community, Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to recap a couple of really interesting highlights about the conversation because I think that this has been good. And we've kind of hit a lot of things. One, you talked about the whole idea of how you even create a community, especially whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Like, how do you even establish yourself in such a way that you're attracting a community? Then you also talked about once you have that community, the type of things that you can do to get people connected and engaged. You even talked about not only those who are already established within your community, but those outside. How do you bring them in with compassion and with care for who they are as people, not just, oh, there's another dollar right there, right, through your chats. And you've talked about some ideas in terms of just measurement and really deciding, making some intentional or taking some intentional looks at what your analytics are and what are some of the signs that tell you that you truly are on track. I think that I want to kind of go through some of these comments and make sure I didn't miss some questions here because there was one in here where Lenidra talked about she took the last 2 years to build the know, like, and trust factor with her community. Does it take 2 years? Does it take years, Melody? Can it be shorter than that? What if you're like in the mood right now to create a community? Yes. How can you fast track it? Or is there such a thing as fast tracking a group or a membership?
I think that if you have the passion and you have the drive to be consistent, you can really reap the results with the right support. I say that because can you have overnight success? Absolutely. There are people that go viral and they just have great content and it was just the right time. And other people takes them a little bit longer, and I don't think there's anything wrong with either of those. Um, can you build a community and does it take 2 years? I don't think that it would take 2 years to do that. You can sell, like, I always recommend when someone is selling a course, if they're just starting, have an email list. Go back to that. Start off, get 100 people on your list, even if it's 10 people who are your friends and family, right? They can tell the other people to come and join you. But if you have an audience of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, it's going to be easier for you to get more connected, promote your products and service, or at least gain enough of a following to start promoting through affiliates. So really just choosing intentionally, who do I want to draw in to attract to work with me, and then how can I really make the most use out of this content so it's really going to resonate with the people that I really want to work with, not just who's going to pay me money, because we all know if you've worked in corporate or you worked a different job that Maybe the person paying the bills isn't the person that you want to work with. Maybe it's the person who does have the money, they just don't know about you yet. So, how do you get them in the room? How do you invite them? How do you start that conversation? That question will lead you to building the community that buys from you, that supports you, that advocates for you, and starts tagging you in other people's groups.
I love that. I really do love that. I'm looking to see if there are other questions. Folks, ask if you have some questions because we're about to wrap here real soon. I've kept you longer than I anticipated, but I think this has been such good conversation. I'll just add to something that you said. Yeah, she said you just dropped a gem. Leverage others. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. One thing that I absolutely love about the community that I've created, it wasn't initially intended. I'm going to tie this back to video, y'all, now, and I have to ask a really quick question about video of you, Melody. But it wasn't intended. It wasn't until I was consistent. You mentioned this earlier. I was consistent with the content I was putting out on camera. I was consistent with the platform that I chose to start to build. And it was live streaming for me, but it might be different for you. It could be that you're creating a course. And so maybe your community will be built from that course. For me, I was on camera every week because I committed to doing that. And the same people showed up over and over again. And they were starting to ask, where's our space? like, like we need a clubhouse. And I don't mean clubhouse, the audio clubhouse, but I mean, like we need a space to hang out. And it organically for me began to grow into something that, even though it's still a small community, it's not thousands of people, it's intimate and it's real. And I get to know everybody who's a part of it. And I love them like I would love my own sister or brother, right? And that is something that I think that's so funny. Honeycomb hideout. That is something that I wanted to create because that's my personality. But I love something you said, Melody, that really you can make it whatever you want it to be. Because some people are going to have bigger, some people are going to have smaller, some people are going to have more business focus, some people will have a mix of business and personal. There's any number of ways you can create these spaces. But I'm excited about you coming to talk to our group really soon, our academy, about recurring income through these methods. Can you just share just like a tidbit, like a preview teaser of what they're going to hear about?
Yeah, yeah. So the recurring revenue is such a big popular topic. So if you have a membership or a group coaching program, or maybe you're in the initial stages, you're building up that community so that you can launch a membership, it's so important to understand that the customer who purchases from you, they're actually 85% more likely to purchase from you again, and on top of that, it's actually 5 to 25 times more expensive to have a new person come into your course, your program, your membership, or your service. So what does that mean for us? So what that means for us is that if you decide to create a recurring revenue model, it's so important to look at the stability long term of that program. What does that look like for you? Maybe it means streamlining a way for people to give feedback. I know I'm in AppSumo and I'm looking at different products. Product roadmaps are a continued way for people to provide feedback. How are you doing that in your membership? How are you doing that in your group program? How do you collect feedback? How do you determine why somebody is canceling? If you look at the statistics, you can actually see, and this is something I'll go more into depth inside of my training with Tanya, is that just a 1% retention rate increase. Let's say that you had a really high ticket service or a product or a program and it's $1,000 per month. If you increase your retention rate by just 1%, you could make so much more money back rather than trying to funnel all this money into creating new graphics, buying ad space. And I'm not saying that's not effective. I'm simply saying it's actually more profitable long term to grow that monthly income month over month with those members and building that up. So we're not constantly seeing this leaky funnel where people are falling out, this issue where you're seeing people churn, meaning leave your membership, leave your program, which is normal in some ways. But how can we prevent that leaky funnel from happening? And how can we build sustainability into our programs so that we can grow a sustainable membership or group program?
Woo, girl, I can't wait.
It's going to be so much
Look.
fun.
All right, all right. We're gonna have another party, but in the academy. So if you're not a member of the academy, I'm sorry you missed us this time, but we'll definitely have the replay up and ready for the next time you get ready to enroll. So, question, and yes, I know Lotta is looking forward to learning more about that churn because that is an issue, that is a topic. Yeah. People coming in and then leaving. Yeah. So we'll get to ask some questions about that, Lotta, inside of the academy. So very excited. Okay, I'm gonna wrap shortly with this question of you, and I want to know, Melody, favorite video gear to create your programs. What are you using? Because you've gotten comfortable with using camera and video to do a lot of things. I see you out there. You have a YouTube channel too. So I want to point people to where they can find you, but what's your favorite piece of video gear that you've purchased, I don't know, recently or bought ever?
So I would say that my video editing software, Camtasia, is one of my favorite tools, especially for tutorial videos. I say that because I actually professionally create some of these tutorial videos for clients. And one of the things that is often missing with some of the live stream video is having the ability to zoom in, which I know you can do. You absolutely can do. What I like to do is actually take some of my live stream, edit it a little bit more in Camtasia, and then pop out a little bit more highly a more edited version of that live stream.
Yeah.
And I've seen other people do it where they'll just take out a live stream video from Facebook, remove it from the group, and then pop it into their LMS or a course platform. So I personally love Camtasia, and then probably, I don't know, I feel like my microphone, that was a really good investment for me.
Which one are you using?
It's the old school. It's the ATR 2100.
2100. Okay, I've had that. I trust it. I trust the ATR. I'm going to show where people can find you. Let's talk about a little bit of where they can find you. So this is your website, thecourseconsultant.com, right?
Absolutely. Yes. That's the best place for you to connect up with me. Those little social icons. I spend a lot of my time inside of my community group. The group is a great place if you have a membership, you're growing your community, or you have a group program and you're just looking for more support to grow through referrals, partnerships, affiliate programs. So there is actually a great place for you to connect up with me. And if you click on the X button on the top pop-up window, because I know there's that yellow area, Tanya.
Oh, right up here. I see it.
Yeah, click on that. There's this little button that says member directory. If you click there and you're not inside this course collaboration directory, I highly recommend that you join. This will give you access to be featured as a group program founder, a membership owner, or if you have an agency and you're looking for more referral partners, because all these folks are just amazing people. And I want to create a community where people can grow, not just my business, but grow each other's business. And so I'd love for you to join there. And then, of course, as Tanya said, I'm on YouTube. Oh,
wait,
great.
before I want you to see these comments coming through about you. So Christopher just said, let me pop it up again. He said, I just joined because I can't help myself. I know. I love it. And Juan said, great website.
Oh, thank you.
So
I'm so
you.
excited. Yeah, that's a
Very
great place.
excited.
And I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see all these friends come join this community. It's going to be so much fun.
And then I'm popping up your YouTube. So tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I go live on my YouTube channel every single week on Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. PDT. And during the live streams, I actually stream what's happening in real time. So, what's really cool about this is that every single week I hold co working hours and we focus on specific outcomes each time. It's 1 hour of live stream, but you can join me inside of these virtual connect rooms and we'll actually have the option for you to share, ask questions with your audio. You don't have to show your face, it's not on Zoom. And it's a great place to get accountability for your business goals, whether that's building curriculum, getting support for refining your group program, or maybe it's to work out a new workflow for your process, for your agency, your group program, or your business. And so during these times, I do live streams to show you that other people are doing the same thing you are. It can feel like you're in a silo when you're starting out, or maybe if you don't have that community aspect yet. But this is why I wanted to create this space. So every Wednesday, come join me. The only way that you can get access to those live connect rooms are if you join me inside of the course collaboration directory. So make sure that you fill that out so you can get notified of upcoming events.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So I did go ahead and pop that back up, Michelle. I know you asked what is the site again. So thecourseconsultant.com. Hopefully you were able to see that. And I'll make sure to put that into the group, our Facebook group as well. All right. Any final word of wisdom? If there was one thing you would love to leave people with, Melody, I'm going to let you take it away and tell us what's one thing, one idea that we want to make sure we. Oh, and Michelle just put, I'm there. Good, good, good.
All
What
right.
is one thing that we want to make sure people know about community, groups, memberships, anything that you have that you want to leave us thinking about?
So I would say build a business around your life and not the other way around. It's super easy when you first get started to just fall into the habit of building your business first and forgetting about your health, your own family, your other values. But as you build up your own lifestyle, remember that there's no, you can't get more time back. So whatever you can do to build your life around your business, or build your business around your life, not the other way around, it's a very important skill that I'm still learning. So I hope that you can join me as we keep each other accountable and not burn out. Let's build sustainable businesses together.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for all the love for Melody, y'all, because she is really, I told you you would love her. She's amazing. She's super smart. She knows her stuff. So definitely go hang out at thecourseconsultant.com. Go check it out. I'm seeing lots of love for you in the comments, and people are signing up. So that is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you all for joining us and for having us come and talk with you this evening about memberships and courses. And if you don't think these go hand in hand with video, trust me, like I mentioned earlier, when you are in the process of actually getting consistent and consistently on camera and doing more with video, you're going to, by nature of the space that you're in, you're going to attract and create community, maybe even without knowing it, just like I did. So you want to have the structure in place. You want to have the strategies and the practical knowledge of knowing how to make that work, like Melody just said, without overwhelming yourself. And I just love that she is here for us as a resource to help us do that. So looking forward to seeing Miss Melody. Let's say goodbye one more quick time. Melody, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody, I hope you have an amazing evening. If you do have questions, go ahead and leave them under the video, because the video is going to be here. Like, the replay is here and we're paying attention, not just myself, but I know Melody, I'll trigger her and say, hey, there was a question for you in the comments. So we'll make sure to come back and try to answer those and respond and acknowledge you. I just thank you every week for coming back. I'm going to be here on Thursday, and this Thursday we're going to talk a little bit about how to organize your videos using playlists, not only in YouTube, but in other spaces too. So I hope you'll come back and join us. I'm probably going to be on for about 30 to 45 minutes on Thursday of this week, and can't wait to see you in the stream. Take care, everybody. And we'll see you safely and hopefully blessed the next time we meet. All right.